Hello, welcome to WiZ HL7 training. By the end of this webinar, you should be able to complete all inventory functions in WiZ, run a report to find all your administered doses, prepare your inventory reconciliation, place vaccine orders, receive vaccine shipments, and know how to get help with WiZ. This WiZ handout should be posted in your office's waiting room. By posting this, you are letting your patients know that their immunization information will be shared with DPH as allowed per state regulations. This handout is written in both English and Spanish. If your patient chooses to opt out of WiZ, the handout includes instructions. However, luckily less than 1% opt out. We are now going to start with the inventory on hand screen found in the inventory module. This screen allows you to view your inventory by inventory location and take action on the vaccines you have. Only the primary and backup vaccine coordinators have access to the inventory module in WiZ. You can view your inventory on hand by going to Inventory, Vaccines, then On Hand. Here, your inventory is separated by inventory locations, such as refrigerator and freezer. Your inventory locations and your on-hand inventory is entered into WiZ by the CVP program when you first go live. The following transactions must be documented in WiZ in order for your on-hand inventory to stay in sync with your physical inventory in your clinic. Documenting administered doses to patients, transferring in and out vaccine inventory, wastage in expired vaccines, and receiving shipments. Please note that your state inventory is loaded into WiZ. We highly recommend you add your private inventory, which could be beneficial to the practice. We have already made a private location for you to add inventory in if you wish. You can add inventory by clicking on the Add New Inventory button. You can use the filters at the top of the screen to filter by inventory location, status such as on hand, depleted, and expired, vaccine, or funding source. You can also see if any vaccines are expiring soon. Any vaccines expiring within 4 months of today's date have a red clock showing you to either use these doses or transfer them out. Once a vaccine is expired, it disappears from your vaccines on hand since it is no longer viable for use. To view vaccines that have expired, use the filter at the top of your vaccines on hand screen and choose depleted and expired. If at any time you have questions on the screen in WiZ, click on the blue eye located at the top of the page. A pop-up will appear with information specifically for the page you are on. Some pages also have a blue Learn More link. Click on this link to find short how-to videos and written instructions. This page displays in a separate window, so you can watch the video, pause it, continue on your screen, and then continue watching. We will now go through all the actions you can do with your vaccines on hand. Select which vaccine you would like to conduct an action for by clicking on Actions, and then click Edit. This action would only be used if you need to edit a vaccine lot number, expiration date, or funding source. If you make any changes, just click Update. To go back to your inventory on hand, click Cancel. Now we will go into adjustments. Adjustments can be used for many different reasons, such as dropping a vial. All adjustments are reviewed by the CVP program, so it is important to keep this in mind. Adjustments need to have a valid reason. Failure to justify adjustments may lead to restitution. To do this, click on Adjustment. Enter the date and time. You can double-click in the box to automatically pre-fill this information. Then select your adjustment reason. In this case, it would be CVP broken vial syringe. As you can see, it automatically selects Subtract as your modification. Enter the amount of doses you dropped into the doses adjusted. Next, write what happened to the vaccine in the comments. Please make sure to be detailed and clear in your explanation. Once this is filled in, click Create. Once you create the adjustment, the dose subtracted from your doses on hand. For inventory transfers, when contacting the provider, you must find out if the clinic you're transferring with is currently using WiZ for vaccine ordering. Depending on this answer, you will have to enter a transfer 2 different ways. If you are transferring inventory to an online clinic, go to the vaccine you are transferring, click on Action, then Transfer. Double-click the date and time field. Select the destination inventory location. The locations go in order of organization, pin, and unit. Enter the number of doses being transferred. Click Create when data is completed. Then go back to your on-hand inventory to see the doses have transferred out of your inventory. You will notice that a blue hyperlink is at the top of your on-hand inventory. You can click the pending inventory transfer to view, delete, or update. If you are receiving an inventory transfer from an online clinic, you will see the same blue link. Click on the pending inventory transfer link. Click on Receive for each vaccine transferred in. Enter the receive date and time. Click OK. The vaccine is now added to your on-hand inventory. If you are transferring inventory to an offline clinic, you are not able to use the transfer screen. You need to make an adjustment instead. Select the vaccine you are transferring out, click Action and then Adjustment. Double-click in the date and time field. For reason, choose CBP Transfer to Offline Clinic. The modification will automatically default to subtract since you are transferring out doses. Doses adjusted is the number of doses you are transferring out. In the comments field, write the name of the clinic and the PIN you are transferring the vaccines to. Click Create. This will deduct the transferred doses out of your inventory. In addition, you or the other transferring practice need to send in a paper copy of the transfer. These steps need to be done for each vaccine being transferred. If you are receiving an inventory transfer from an offline clinic, you need to add the inventory using the Add New Inventory screen. Enter the date and time. Select the inventory location where you are putting the vaccine. Choose the correct vaccine and NDC code. Carefully type in the lot number and expiration date. The funding source for state vaccine will always be blended public CBP. Enter the number of doses transferred in. In the comments field, write the name of the clinic and PIN you are receiving the vaccines from. Click Create. Click Cancel to get back to your inventory on hand screen. The doses are now added to your inventory. To summarize, only clinics who are placing orders online in CTWiZ can transfer inventory and accept the transfer directly in CTWiZ. For clinics who are not ordering through CTWiZ, still need to complete paper transfers to another clinic. We have added a handout to this webinar to help you with transfers to online and offline clinics. Now, let's go back to your Actions menu, and we can now click on Inquiry. This will let you run a report on every action that was done with this particular lot number. You can narrow your results by transaction date if you choose. You can also output the data in PDF or Excel. When you choose PDF and click Run Report, it will give you a nice overview of all the transactions. You scroll to the bottom of the PDF document to see all the transaction totals. If you choose Output as Excel, you will receive more detailed information and may also filter the data by columns. This could be helpful if you are looking for something specific. Now, if you go back to Actions and click on Transactions, this will list a basic overview of all the transactions made with this lot number. You can also filter this information by adjustment reason, transaction type, or reconciliation bucket. Click on Cancel to go back to your vaccines on hand. Now we will go over the vaccine return process. If you have let a vaccine expire, or if you have a temperature excursion resulting in non-viable vaccines, you will need to return the vaccine to McKesson. To do this, go to the Inventory module, Vaccines, and then Vaccine Returns. On this initial screen, you can search for past or open vaccine returns. Enter information in any of the fields to help narrow your results, or click Search with no information filled to pull up all your past vaccine returns. If you have a new vaccine return, click Add New Vaccine Return. Choose the clinic that is returning vaccines. This is important if you are linked to multiple clinics, and click Next. Review and confirm the shipping information is correct. This information is preloaded from your provider profile. If the information is not correct, please go to Clinic Tools in the left menu and then Clinic Information. Click on Address, Name, or Delivery Hour screens to update. If the information listed is correct, check the box at the bottom of the screen and click Next. All the fields with the red asterisks are required fields. Return type is return only. Select your reason. For example, expired, refrigerator too warm or cold. Label shipping method is always email. Number of shipping labels is almost always 1. This is the number of labels you need to return the vaccine. All vaccines usually fit in one box and only require one label. Under Clinic Comments, write your spoilage letter. This will go to the vaccine coordinator for review, so please explain why the vaccines were wasted, was anything done to avoid this, and what will be done in the future to prevent further wastage. Under Vaccine Manufacturer NDC, you can begin typing the vaccine being returned information. For example, if you wanted to return a DTaP, you could begin typing DTaP or the NDC or the brand Infinrix Stat2Cell. All the DTaP that is in your on-hand inventory will begin to appear for you to select. Choose the correct vaccine. Enter the number of doses being returned. Click Add Return. If you have other returns, continue to type the other vaccines with the amounts being returned. As you add vaccines, they will begin to list under Vaccines to Return. If you made a mistake, simply click the X to get rid of that particular line item. Once all your vaccines being returned are entered, click Create. This will save your return, but does not submit it. If you need to leave and come back to this, all the information is saved and you can pick up where you left off by searching on that initial vaccine return screen. When you are ready to submit the return to the CVP program, click the arrow next to Update and click Submit to VFC Program. This has now been sent to us and the vaccine coordinator to review. No changes can be made to this return. Click Cancel to go back to the initial screen. You must confirm there is a Submitted for Approval status of the return on this search screen. Submitted for approval means the return is ready to be reviewed by the CVP program. If you do not see the Submitted for Approval status, click on View to then submit the return. Once we receive this, we will either approve the return or reject the return. You will see the date submitted as well as the status on the vaccine return screen. For returns that are requiring vaccines to be replaced, we will leave comments in your vaccine return under VFC Program Comments. To view this comment, click View next to the rejected return. This concludes the inventory management training. Let's move on to reconciliations. Reconciliations can be done how frequently a practice desires. It would be a best practice to reconcile your inventory often to prevent issues when you need to order. Reconciliations update the system to confirm what you physically have on hand. You must resolve any discrepancies before you complete your reconciliation. And you must reconcile before you are allowed to place an order, so you do not want to wait until last minute to reconcile. To begin your reconciliation, you need to generate a report to show you the number of doses administered during the reconciliation period. In CT-WiZ, go to the Reports, scroll down to Inventory Management Vaccine section, and click on Aggregate Administered Doses Report. Verify you are in the correct clinic. Enter the vaccination date range. The from date should be the day of your last reconciliation. The through date would be the day you plan on counting your physical inventory. For output type, you could choose PDF or you can extract the report into Excel. First, let's export the data in PDF. Click Run Report. This shows you a listing of all the doses administered during the time period you entered. Remember, these doses come over through your EHR, so you may notice that there are multiple lines of the same lot number or slightly similar. If a message comes through and the lot number, expiration date, or funding source is just one character off, it shows as a separate line. We want to share with you the vaccines supplied by CVP document that will be helpful when entering immunizations on patients. It is important to refer to the website regularly so you are getting the most up-to-date information. It is extremely important to enter vaccine information correctly in your EHR in order for it to come over correctly into CTWiZ. In this case, notice that the expiration date is different from the lot numbers that are the same. You need to add the doses administered for these lines since it is the same lot number. If you are unsure where a lot number came from, or there are numerous typos, you may want to fix the immunization in your EHR and resend the message. If you would like to run the report in Excel, click Extract and place a comma in the delimiter. Click Run Report. With Excel, you are able to filter your vaccines by vaccine type, lot number, etc., and this may be easier for you to get your totals. Now that you have administered doses totals, let's begin the reconciliation. Click on Vaccines, then Reconciliation to start the process. On the initial reconciliation screen, you can search for all past or currently open reconciliations. To search, enter a date range to find specific results or leave all fields blank and hit Search. If you do this, it will pull up all past reconciliations. Since we have no open reconciliations, click on Add Reconciliation. You can only have one open reconciliation at a time. Choose which location you would like to begin with. You must reconcile all storage locations to place an order. However, you do not need to reconcile private vaccine storage locations. A pre-check will pop up with inventory items that are either complete or outstanding. All things with a red slash need to be resolved before you can go any further. You can click View or Resolve on the right to go straight to the outstanding issue. In this case, we have an outstanding transfer. Click on Resolve. This will bring you directly to the pending transfer screen. Click on Received and then enter the time and date the vaccine was received. Once you resolve all issues, go back into the reconciliation. You should now have all green check marks in the pre-check and are able to click Proceed. In the description field, type something that will easily help you identify this reconciliation on the search screen, such as the month, day, and year. For the count date and count time, it is extremely important you enter the exact date and time you are counting the inventory based on your clinic schedule. All items with a transaction date in CTWiZ after this date and time will not be captured in this reconciliation. The key to a successful reconciliation is entering all events like shots, wastage, and transfers into CTWiZ with the actual date and time that the event happened. If it is right now, you can also double-click in the fields to pre-fill the fields automatically. Click Create. To assist you in your reconciliation, you can click on the links, then Count Sheet. This is the same count sheet that you can print from the Reports module. A pop-up appears listing all the vaccines that are currently in your on-hand inventory. You can print this sheet and bring it to your units to help you count all your vaccines. Now, you will enter your administered doses under the Aggregate Administered column. These are the totals you received from the report you previously ran in CTWiZ. The field represents a negative number since it will be subtracted from your inventory. In the next column, you will enter your physical on-hand inventory in CTWiZ. Enter the doses you counted under your physical count and click Update to once again save. Remember, this should be your on-hand inventory before your reconciliation count date and time. Any transactions that occur after this date and time are not reflected. If there are any discrepancies, it will be listed under Inventory Differences. Why would you have an inventory difference? You can have differences for many different reasons. Maybe you didn't document a wastage, for an HL7 message did not come over for a patient. As mentioned earlier, it is very important to enter all transactions into CTWiz. However, there are many tools built into CTWiz to help you identify and then fix these discrepancies. For each vaccine, you hover over the summary symbol. This gives you a quick snapshot of transactions for this vaccine. For example, maybe you are missing a dose of Tdap, and you can't find it, but you know that you wasted a dose last week. If you hover over the symbol and see that there isn't anything listed under wastage, it could remind you that you did not document it in CTWiz as wastage. If you click on Action, then Transactions for the vaccine, it will pull up all the transactions that occurred for that vaccine. You can use this screen to match against your records and find any transactions not documented or documented in error. If you realize you forgot to make an adjustment, you can do so directly in the reconciliation. Click on Actions for the vaccine you need to make an adjustment on. Then click on Create Inventory Adjustment. Enter the date and time of the adjustment. Select the reason. Depending on the reason, the modification will change. If the modification does not pre-fill, select Add or Subtract. Enter the number of doses you are adjusting for. Write a comment as to why you are making this adjustment. Just a reminder, all adjustments are reviewed by CBP staff. Then click Create. Your adjustment will now be reflected in your physical count. Once you have 0 inventory differences for all the vaccines, you can click Update to save your information. If you are ready to complete the reconciliation, click the down arrow next to Update and then close Reconciliation. Once a reconciliation is closed, you cannot reopen it. This process needs to be repeated for each storage location. You can also reconcile just to keep your inventory up to date in CTWiz without having to place an order, but you must reconcile and resolve discrepancies prior to placing an order. As mentioned earlier, it is best practice to reconcile often to work out any issues while everything is still fresh in your memory. This concludes the reconciliation training. Next, we will discuss placing a vaccine order.
We are now going to go over how to enter COVID orders in CTWiz. You're going to want to go to Inventory, Vaccines, Vaccine Orders. You will see an initial search screen where you could search for any past vaccine orders. If you are part of the CBP program, you will also see your CBP orders here as well. You could enter information or just click on search to pull up all past orders. If you would like to start a new vaccine order, click on Add New Vaccine Order. Go ahead and click the arrow. Any clinics you are associated to will be listed here. Once you select your clinic, if it is approved for COVID ordering, you will now see this checkbox displayed asking if this will be a COVID-19 vaccine order. You can go ahead and check on that box and click Next. A pop-up will appear with your primary shipping contact information as well as your delivery information. If your delivery information or your shipping contact information is not correct, please update this information under Clinic Tools. You want to make sure that you are updating your delivery information around holidays, vacations, and if your office is closed for lunch. If the times listed are correct, go ahead and check the box and click Next. This will bring you to the COVID-19 order screen. On this screen, you'll see all of the COVID vaccines that are available. You could go ahead and place under quantity the amount of trays you would like of each vaccine. Just a reminder, Moderna come in trays of 100 doses, or Pfizer comes in trays of 975 doses. So you're going to enter the amount you would like under quantity. So we want 1 tray of Moderna, so we would put a 1 here. And we want 1 tray of 975 doses of Pfizer, so we'll put a 1 here. Go ahead and click Add to Cart. You can now see that our cart has 2 items in it. If you click on the cart, you will see all of the items in your cart. If you made a mistake, you could just click on Remove. It'll ask you if you're sure you want to remove this item, and then it will delete that line. Click the X to go back. Now you're back on the main order screen. Once you have everything that you would like to order, go ahead and click on Submit to VFC Program. If you hit this cancel button, it will close you out of the order and it will not save any of the work you have done. So we're going to go ahead and click Submit to VFC Program. It's asking for sure. We'll go ahead and click OK. And now we have a success. If we hit cancel now, since we've already hit submit and we have the success message, we hit cancel, it'll bring us back to our vaccine order main screen. If you click on search, you will see the order that we just placed is submitted for approval. If you need to print this order, you could do so by clicking on the printer icon, or you could click on view to go back into the order to see what you have ordered. Once you submit the order to the vaccine program, you will not be able to make any changes. Go ahead and hit cancel. So once your order has been approved or rejected, you will receive a notification in the bell icon up here. If it has been rejected, you could go back into the order and click on view to see why it was rejected. Once your order has been approved and it has shipped, you could come into CTWiz to track the vaccine. To do this, you're going to go to Inventory, Vaccines on Hand. On the Inventory on Hand screen, you will have a blue hyperlink at the top of your screen saying that there are pending VTrack shipments. When you click on that blue hyperlink, it will list all of the pending VTrack shipments. You could go ahead and click on Details next to the vaccine you would like to track. And then it will give you the carrier information as well as the tracking information. You could then copy and paste the tracking number into either UPS or FedEx's website to track where your order is. Once your order has been delivered and you have verified everything in your order, you could go ahead and accept it into CTWiz. To do this, we'll go to Inventory, Vaccines on Hand. We'll go back to that blue hyperlink. But now instead of clicking that Details button, you're going to go ahead and click on Receive. It will then bring you to accepting a shipment page. The vaccine, the lot number, the expiration date, and the amount of vaccines you received will automatically be pre-filled. You will have to enter in the date and time that the vaccine was received, the inventory location in which you would like to put the vaccine, as well as the funding source. All COVID vaccine should have a funding source of pandemic. Once all of this is set, you can go ahead and click on Create. If your vaccine that you are accepting has the same lot number and expiration date as vaccine currently in your inventory on hand, you may see this screen. And what this screen does is searches for possible duplicates. So if you do have a vaccine that was just delivered and it is the same lot number and expiration date as a vaccine that you currently have in your inventory on hand, then you could click Add to this inventory line item. If it is not the same exact lot number and expiration date, then we want to go ahead and click on Proceed to create. When you do this, it will create a separate line in your inventory on hand. If you have any questions on anything covered in today's training, you could visit our CTWiz training page. This training page is being updated regularly with more information. On the initial CTWiz training page, you will see all of our CTWiz videos. You will also see links to the patient management and inventory management. You click on one of these links, it will bring you to our training page with all individual help desk topics. So if you need help placing a vaccine order, you could click on right here and it's going to give you step-by-step directions with screenshots. And it is divided up by subject. If you still have questions and you can't find your answer on either a training page, you could go ahead and click on the Contact Us link and submit a help desk ticket. And somebody will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.